So welcome everybody. Welcome to today's event. I hope you all had a good holiday weekend. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. And a huge welcome to Eric LeGrand, of course. Thanks so much for spending the time today with our members and taking their questions later. Eric's going to field your questions towards the end of the discussion between us. And so if you have a question, just write it in the chat box. Our moderator, Nelson, is going to take them and share them with us towards the end of the program. So, Eric, I'm guessing everyone here is probably pretty familiar with you. You're one of Rutgers' favorite sons, no doubt. But allow me to give a brief recap of your life story because it's a truly inspiring one and worth revisiting for everyone here today. A little over 10 years ago, you suffered a severe spinal cord injury playing football with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And that was an injury that left you unable to breathe, even breathe on your own. And yet, only a year later, you resumed your classes at Rutgers. We saw you lead the Rutgers football team out onto the field of play at MetLife Stadium. And that was an amazing moment that no Rutgers sports fan, is ever going to forget. And then not long after that, you were deservedly awarded the Jimmy V Award for Perseverance at the ESPY Awards. And since then, you've racked up a mountain of achievements. You got your degree from Rutgers in 2014. You delivered a speech at your class graduation. You published your autobiography. You became a motivational speaker. And you've had a busy career as a sports broadcaster. I'm sure I'm leaving a lot out. Because you have a distinguished record. But I'm guessing that the one thing that you are most proud of, though, is your philanthropy. Team LeGrand has raised millions of dollars for spinal cord research. Every year, you hold the annual A Walk to bELieve 5K fundraiser for the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. And the next 5K is scheduled for later this month. I definitely want to hear more about that. But first things first, I'd like to ask you about your latest endeavor. If you didn't wear enough hats already, you are now a newly minted entrepreneur. This year, you're launching a new business, the LeGrand Coffeehouse. And so now the first thing I want to ask you is, why coffee? I love my coffee in the morning. Okay, don't get me wrong. Love my coffee, man. There it is, right there, LeGrand Coffeehouse. But you really have to believe in a vision to go out and start your own coffee house. Excuse the pun. Especially this year with all its challenges. So my first question is, why coffee and why now?
When it came to the idea of coffee, it's funny how it started. It's in a typical millennial way, actually, with a bunch of friends of mine in a group sending pictures of their coffee every single morning of last summer in 2020 while we're going through the pandemic. And, got my ideas flowing, and an opportunity presented itself in my downtown area of my hometown in Woodbridge. And I've been a big cafe guy, never a big coffee drinker, but I loved the vibe of the cafe. But then everything else that was happening in the world, with just so much civil unrest and people just, instead of coming together, hating each other. And I'm like, Eric, when people look at you, what do they think of? What is it? Motivation, inspiration, things of that nature. And I'm like, yes, this is what you do. How can you touch somebody when it's just not a t-shirt, all the time? You have a t-shirt. I love being able to people wear my brand all the time. I love to see that. But how can you touch them every single day? And an idea of coffee. People need coffee. People want coffee. And I want to give people that daily reminder every day, that daily can believe that, you know what? I'm going to think about maybe Eric's situation. I think someone similar like him. I'm going to get through this day. And I'm going to attack this day. And I'm not going to let anything hold me back. And I'm going to try to bring people together and bring in unity to the community with a daily cup of bELieve. And that's how the idea started on July 11th, 2020.
Wow. And that's really beautiful. You don't think, when you think coffee, the first thing you don't think of necessarily is community. But that's where you went with it. And that's a really beautiful thing. And a coffee house certainly can be a place where people can experience community. And so that's really great. can you tell me, what's next for the business? I know you just started it last year. It's gone from idea. Tell me, bring me through where you from the start and where you're going with
Sure.
this idea.
So yeah, that's it's funny. So you can have a whole business and idea in your head, but okay, how are you gonna actually make it run and make it operate? And let's just say there have been hurdles. A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes stuff that happens, but there was stuff that happened behind the scenes and hard decisions that I've had to make and had to just, push through and stay on point to what we believe in. But it all started back now. Okay, now I have a place where I can have a cafe. Now I have to educate myself on coffee. I actually hired a coffee business advisor called from bELieve Coffee Advisors all the way out in Portland, Oregon. And I didn't know what I was actually getting myself into. I was like, okay, I'm gonna hire this business advisor. He's gonna teach me about coffee. Boom, no, they hit me with a course which took me 3 days to go through about 6 hours each day. And I had to start learning all this stuff. I was like, whoa, this is like there's a lot behind, that goes behind the scenes with this. But I'm like, I'm not gonna let this hold me back. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna educate myself as much as possible. And over the months, I remember through September, it was waking up, reading news articles, getting ready to take that course because I said I'm not just gonna go into this course cold turkey, not knowing anything. So I had to start, reading news articles, learning different things. And then I went through the course, and there was so much stuff in there that you just couldn't prepare for unless someone's been through it. And then the first time I took the test, I remember you need an 85 to pass, and I got an 80. I was so upset. I was like, come on, man. So the next time I redid it, and I got an 85, and I was all amped up and I passed the course. And then I just continued to educate myself. And I actually got hooked up with an independent roaster here in New Jersey. And he taught me a lot, educated me a lot, but he taught me about air roasting, which is where you can get the best quality taste of a coffee bean from air roasting. But also, he was telling me, this is how we're going to do it. But the level that he wanted to do it on was kind of not what I was thinking. But said we could make this happen. I'm like, you realize, especially when the Rutgers community, when I announce something, they support, they show out, and we had a little bit of hiccups along the way. But in our first months when we launched the business, we had over 800 orders in those first 3 days, and yeah, he wasn't really prepared for it. And he was telling me that we have to do a lot of different things like shut stuff down and take stuff off. I'm like, no, like we're in this now, 3 days in, like business is good. I'm not doing it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was getting invoiced and by way too much, paying him way too much. And after the first month, I had to cut ties with my first roaster. Yeah, and then I had to source out to different people and understand, okay, other people can make coffee and we can do it at a scalable level than just this air roaster. Yes, it tastes great, but there's thousands of people out there that can make great coffee. And I leaned on my coffee advisor, he pointed me to these great Rutgers alum. Well, one of them is a Rutgers alum in Brooklyn. Got connected with him. And let me tell you, things have been seamless since then. It's been absolutely perfect. And here we are now, 4.5 months into business. And I know after today's call, when we get some orders in, we're gonna break what our goal was that we wanted to set to make, for our number in sales. So I know after today's call, we're gonna get there.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, that's quite a story in itself. I mean, you've done your due diligence. You really put a lot of thought into this, but you've already had your ups and downs in such a short time. But I mean, it's a great. I mean, I love business stories, so that's a great business story in the making right there. So what's really different than about your coffee? It's that you got the sense of community, this air roasting. What can you tell me? What else about your coffee? What else are you doing with your coffee
A
that makes
lot
it
of
its own
Sure.
thing? Yeah.
A lot of people nowadays love to do the blends. Everyone wants to blend, this type of coffee and that type of coffee, mixing it with this and trying to create all these like this perfect way. But with us, ours is all single origin, coming from a particular area in that country, if it's Costa Rica, Guatemalan, Sumatran, grown at its purest form, not mixed with chemicals and not mixed with any other blends. So you're literally getting the most quality taste of the bean that you can get. before you start mixing it with different things to try to get a certain taste out of the bean. Yes, you can have your fixtures that you mix coffee with to make it taste a certain way, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get a different taste of the bean. So if you drink your coffee black, you really get the truest form when you're tasting like, ooh, this one tastes really good. So with our Costa Rican blend, we have different ways, than it will probably taste if you had a blend. I should say our Costa Rican roast. It tastes, you're gonna get that little tropical taste to it, coming from where it's coming from, but also a little chocolate taste to it, which is actually pretty cool. Then you get a Sumatra, and Sumatra being over there, they have the perfect weather for growing coffee in the Sumatran Islands, and when you get it all year long there, you're going to get great quality coffee because of just where it's going and where they're located, on this planet. But it tastes fantastic, and you can try to do it a little bit of a dark roast. So I've learned this too. The darker the roast, the less caffeine you get, but you can get more of a taste out of the bean. The lighter the roast, the more caffeine you actually get because you're not roasting it too much. But I will say, as my favorite taste has now been the Guatemalan. It went from Costa Rican to now Guatemalan and Sumatran. I like to dabble back and if I'm like you have to have that on special days, but when I go to my Guatemalan now, that has the earthy grapefruit taste in it. I mean, I'm sorry, earthy taste coming with the Sumatra, but the grapefruit and the chocolatey taste that I'm getting out of this Guatemalan recently. I don't know what it is, but wow, it's special. I really am enjoying it.
Well, your knowledge of coffee has already outstripped my basic knowledge. I'm your coffee might be too good for me. I pour a lot of milk and sugar in mine, quite frankly.
It's not too good for anybody. Like I said, you can mix it with the fixtures and everything, and you're still gonna get the taste of the beans that way. But yeah, like I said, we're not mixing any of the beans and stuff like that. We're getting single origin.
Well, when can I buy my first cup of coffee in a store? Because
The
you're all
store,
online right now, right?
we are online. I'm proud to say yes. We are in 48, 49 of the states so far. So we're almost there. If anybody knows anybody in Montana and South Dakota, they'll be doing us a favor. We got Alaska and Hawaii, but Montana and South Dakota, the only two states left that we haven't sold our coffee to yet. And I do know some people in South Dakota, so I'm gonna get on them a little bit. But
Well, let's hope
from there,
someone sees from Montana sees this online. So
absolutely from there. But from our storefront, we're looking at September, October, all depending on construction, ordering the parts. Because I'm now learning this whole side of the business. Let me tell you, when it goes from I have a floor plan designer to actually design a whole coffee shop. And with ours, it's unique. It's accessible. Obviously, you guys know I'm in a wheelchair, but I want to make it accessible for anybody. That's accessible seating. And we want to be able to hire a barista one day that's in a wheelchair as their upper body. Want to make sure that the back bar behind the counter is enough room to move around without bumping into everybody or someone having to bump into them. Making sure this is what I didn't even think of too. Having a freezer that's coming out of the lower level of the refrigerator instead of above because someone may not be able to reach up top. All this stuff that went into the planning of this, it's actually pretty fantastic with what my floor designer was able to lay out. And now we're right in the mode where the architect is about to file us in for some of our permits and whatnot in the health department. And then from there, we're hoping to open up shop in September. And that September, October area. I'm pushing for September. I wish I could do it on my birthday, so especially since Rutgers moved their game from September 4th to the 2nd. Wouldn't it be awesome to open it up on my birthday on September 1st? September 4th. But we'll see how much I can push these contractors once we get these permits.
well, good luck with that. I mean, that's a real labor of love right there. That would be great if you could get it open up in September. And like you said, football is coming in September as well. And I've already read because your marketing department must be fantastic. I don't know, who's doing your marketing? Is it you? Because I'm reading about your coffee a lot, and I just read it is going to be sold next season in Rutgers Stadium. That was the last big piece of news I read about it. How'd that happen?
That's actually a funny story too. So yes, I will give credit to my guy John Archibald at Resolution Promotions. He does a fantastic job with our marketing and all the stuff that you see on social media and the media hits and all the stuff online, the website. It's my guy John right there. He's truly something special, blessing to have. But you won't believe this. 3 days into the business, we were approached by World Market, the store, the convenient grocery store, I should say, mainly more on the West Coast, kind of like a Whole Foods or whatnot, and Gourmet Dining, who runs the concession stands for all of Rutgers athletics. 3 days into the business, they reached out to us, and we had always in phase two, Rutgers Stadium, different stadium deals, things we want to do. We want to get into the wholesale retail side of the business. Things that was phase two. Phase one was the online store that led into the coffee store and then all this stuff. But we approached 3 days into the business about it. We're like, okay, and we need to reevaluate some things to see if we could actually make this happen. So on January 15th, we received an email about it, and we started trying to, get our minds wrapped around it for the season. About 4 weeks before the spring game, we were having one of our follow-up calls, just staying in touch, and they said, "How would you like to have a go around for the spring game?" And we were like, "Whoa!" Like you want to start like right there? Like, yeah, it would be a good trial run to, figure it out and see, work out the kinks, so we'll be ready to hit the ground running in the fall. And I was like, okay, like I'm not going to turn that down. Like, hang up the phone and I'm calling my people. We got to get moving. Like we got to get our carts designed. We got to figure out our supply. We got to do, all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes to make this happen. And we were able to turn around. And I'm not going to say, I'm not going to lie. I definitely ordered enough coffee to probably give all 52,000 people that could sit in that a cup of coffee. But I wanted to be prepared. I wasn't going to be short on coffee, so I was going to make sure we had enough coffee, even though we only allowed 5,000 people in there. All 52,000 people could have got a cup of coffee if they wanted to. But it was really cool. It was, we got to learn, we got to get our brand out there. People got to taste our coffee experience because it's the emails and text messages that you get after you announce the deal. Oh, I'm so happy we're not going to be drinking mud water anymore. And I'm like, gee, like that's great. I'm like, hopefully all this doesn't taste like mud water. Hopefully it would, be, a lot better for you. And then you get to see the lines and all the videos. I was up doing a game on the Big Ten Network, but my team was taking pictures and everything, and people were just so excited and representing the brand. And that's what it's all about, the Rutgers community coming together, buying the coffee, being able to get a good cup of coffee at the game, and everything that it's meant to me. It was special to be able to do that deal and get our first trial run for that spring game.
Well, it's going to be great to have a nice hot cup of coffee in November, in those November games. That's for sure. Maybe we get them iced in September. I don't know.
And we were working on that, trying to get it iced and everything. We even had it up in the Provident Bank for everyone up there. If anyone was up in the Provident Bank, somebody got to have some stuff there too. So we're trying to get the iced coffee for those, those summer. Well, you call it the fall, but it's still the summertime in September.
Well, you mentioned the spring game, and so that's probably a good segue to talk about a little bit about Rutgers football. So you were calling that game, and I'm wondering, there's a lot of optimism going into the season right now. So how do you think the team looked on the field? It's only 90 days away. It's not that long when the season opens.
It really isn't that long, and I'm more and more impressed every single day because I know what it's like to play under Coach Shiano and his staff, and to see them actually get to have a spring this year, because obviously with COVID last year, there was no spring, there was no summer training camp, and then you had to go, you could put together a team in, 2-3 weeks to go play a season and be able to pull off 3 wins to now have the culture instilled in the program, have now that those 15 practices and the 16 want to bring the spring game. And then you get the whole workout now leading up into the summer. I'm telling you guys, after watching that spring game, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun watching some of those young guys emerge. Obviously, we know our guys like Isaiah Pacheco, who's played a lot of football for us. Bo Melton, obviously, and his brother on the other side, Avery, young Trey Avery, all those guys. We're gonna start seeing some younger guys like Isaiah Washington, who you saw the one-handed catch during the spring game. Was run up the sideline, was up one hand, like it was nothing, and then just keeps in stride and keeps on going. Like those are the highlight plays that we're going to be seeing from this team. Sean Gleason working with Noah Vedra on that offensive line getting bigger, stronger, which we need because the Big Ten is huge. Telling you, Coach Shiano knows how to make this happen. And honestly, probably when he left, the best thing that happened then was being able to learn from guys like Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, and Bill Belichick, because now we're going to see him back after learning all the stuff that he learned. Now he's going to put it back into us the way he knows how to do it.
So I guess you're happier than anyone probably that Coach Shiano is back coaching the team. What's it? What do you think he's going to be doing with the team? I hear there's a really good recruiting class coming this year. So I don't know. You think we're gonna finish with a top 30, top 25 recruiting class?
I think we can finish with a top 25 recruiting class. Obviously, signing day is a long ways away in December, but those guys work their butts off every single day. And the coolest part about it is, when you go through the recruiting process, you get to see the coaches that care, and then you get to see the car salesman coaches, then you get to see, ones that, they're doing it for the job, they care, but they're not all the way into it. And then sometimes you see coaches leave and things of that nature. That's part of the business. But with Coach Shiano's staff, the thing with them is they generally try to develop a relationship with not only you, but your family, the people around you, because they want to know about you. Like Rutgers isn't offering 300, 400, 500 kids. There's only a certain amount of offers that go out now for Rutgers because there's certain guys that they target. And that's cool and that's unique. There's certain guys that they want that fit the Rutgers culture that they're not just going to throw out any 500 offers for somebody to just accept and come. It just doesn't work like that anymore for us. And that's really cool about it because that allows you now time to work on those, whatever amount of guys there is, the 150 guys, 100 guys, that is that you truly want. Now I can focus all my energy on developing relationships with those guys. And that's what it's all about when it comes to recruiting. Like especially nowadays, you got to gain. You always need to gain these kids' trust, but even more now, you got to gain these kids' trust and know that you're there to help them and benefit them. And all the university has, between whether our academic programs, especially in the business world, and then athletically, this was the best year we've had in Rutgers athletics. We got to give a shout out to all the other programs too, because your other programs do well. Those recruits, when they're on campus, they see that those basketball games. I can't wait to get back to the rack when that place is bumping and jumping, and those recruits are sitting there. I remember being on the trips when I saw games in the stands. When I went to Virginia, when I was getting recruited by Virginia, I got to go to a basketball game and see that atmosphere. And when you're 15, 16 years old, you're like, oh my God, like I'm going there. Like, so same thing here. So when other athletic programs are doing well, they're in the media, they're in the news. It helps all of Rutgers. And the year that we just had, whew, I had to tip my hat off to all those coaches and everything that they did. And congratulations to them, because I'm sitting here watching lacrosse games on TV, keeping refreshing my phone on the rowing team and seeing what's going on, the women's soccer team. Like, it's just really cool to see that the whole university is doing, and that helps when it comes to recruiting and trying to keep this top 25 class that we have right now, top 10 class, but wait till we have a top 25.
Well, fingers crossed. And it's true. All Rutgers sports seem to be on the upswing right now. It's really an interesting time to be a Rutgers sports fan. And I can only imagine. You talked about the importance of the coaching relationship, and so I can only imagine, what it means to you having Coach Shiano kind of come back to the banks, and I imagine, your relationship has been great over the years, and you probably get to see a lot more of him now that he's back here.
Yeah, and my relationship with coaches, I remember from the time he told me when he was recruiting me that he treats all his players like they're his kids. And then when that day came, October 16, 2010, when my injury happened, and the moments that led after that, it was just no better way that he proved that, coming up to my room every single night, give my mom a break, give my family a break, to go home or go to the hotel at the time and relax, and just sitting there so I wasn't by myself, and leaving at 2 o'clock in the morning, knowing he had to be up at 6 o'clock to go do it all over again what he had to get done in a day. And then from there, he drafted me to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he went down there, and being able to sign a free agent contract and retire as a Buccaneer. Like, that was special. Then our relationships just throughout the years, it continued to grow. And it's funny, he says he went I went from being a player to now a friend. And that's pretty cool to see because even still to this day, when I see him, I'm like, chest up, back tight. What's up, coach? How you doing, coach? Like that's still coach, but I get to see a different side of him now, which not everyone gets to always see because he's leading these young men, 18, 22-year-old men, young men into men that they're going to be. But I get to see a different side of him, and it's really cool. And all of the story, was out from when he was about to get hired and when he was creeping around campus checking things out, and he comes down, he drops his wife off with some friends, and he shows up at my house. He texted me my address. Like, hey, what's your address again, bro? I'm like, what's Coach Shannon asking me about my address? Is he about to send me something? And then about 20 minutes later, he shows up outside of my house, and I'm like, oh, snap. And I had just got back from the Michael K show. I was in New York City, like out of the Michael K show, and I missed it. He called me twice, and I missed the two calls because my phone was dead. Get home, plug it in, and it's coach asking for my address. I have two missed calls from him. I didn't know what was going on at the time. And then he pops up at my doorstep. So that was crazy. And then just the in-depth conversation that we had, for that time that we spent that night about everything to now where he is back in the program and being able to get there and go there and literally just be a part of the family. Sometimes a lot of schools, their players don't feel like they're a part of the program, and unfortunately, that happened with a little bit of here, in the past where players just didn't feel like they were, accepted back there. Now with coach back, everyone's coming. You see people coming out the woodworks to want to be around everyone and want to be there, and it's really cool to see.
Wow, that is really great. I have one more football question, short and simple. Do you want to make a win-loss prediction this year?
I'll say it right on here. I don't care. We're going to a bowl game.
Oh, all right.
I'll say it right here. If we can get through this, the non-conference schedule, we can come out of there 3-0, nicely set up for the Big Ten schedule. Why can't we get another 3 wins in that Big Ten schedule? Obviously, Coach Shannon, one game at a time, he'll start yelling at me. Right, focusing on Temple, or attention to that Temple. But now that I'm not a player no more, I can kind of look past that. So you got Temple, you got Syracuse, you got Delaware. If you can handle that leading into the Big Ten schedule with Michigan and Ohio State, and then you pull an upset off somewhere, and then down the road you beat some teams that you should beat. Tell you this team can go bowling, and let me tell you, we start going bowling. I already know everyone on this call, guys. The Phantom is coming out. It's the Banks of the Old Raritan. It is going to be lit, and I'll be right there with you guys. I can't wait because it's telling you this year. I'm gonna say here first, going to a bowl.
You just gotta believe.
You just gotta believe.
Speaking of believe, so tell me about this year's A Walk to Believe. When and where is it happening, and how can people get involved?
So with our Walk to Believe, this year is our 11th annual Walk to Believe. I know many of you have participated over the years, which has been truly something special. That was started by the name of Arlene Gonzalez, who knew nothing about football way back when they got hurt, but she heard my story on the news. She has 2 sons, and she came up to Kessler to visit me. She was one of the people that got lucky that we let in because we had some crazies coming up there at the time, but we let Arlene in there. And she told me that she wanted to do something. She said, I want to do something. I've heard that, hundreds of times, I want to do something. But she went out with it. At first, they were like thinking maybe a cookie sale. And she goes, no, we got to do something bigger. Reached out to Rutgers and Kevin McConnell and the crew, and they set up the first 5K Walk to Believe that was held at the stadium right on Bush campus. It's a 5K around the campus. And we were able to do that for our first 9 years at the stadium. It was absolutely amazing. And then last year, COVID hit, of course, on our 10th year anniversary where we wanted to celebrate. I was going to do a big, guys, fireworks. Fair. I was making glow sticks. It was going to be a whole party, but, COVID, had its little say. But it's all good because we did it virtual, and we came up with a 52 for 52 challenge with it. And we did so we went to all 50 states to 2 U.S. territories to get a participant from each one of them. And we were able to do that in a week and a half last year. We filled up that map, and we got 10 countries even involved. And it turned out to be our best one. We raised $190,000, had over 1,500 people that participated throughout the world, which is crazy to say. And this year, with COVID, we weren't able to do it again like we wanted to in person, but we're going to do it virtual again. And we want to keep. We just put out the challenge again last Wednesday. We got to fill up that map, and I want to, instead of 10 countries, I want at least 20 countries this year, and I want to be able to have participants in all 50 states and 2 U.S. territories again, and continue to raise funds for Team LeGrand and Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation, because I felt like this torch was passed along to me from Christopher Reeve, and when he passed away back in, I believe, 2005. It was like a shadow went into the spinal cord injury world. It was a world that I had no idea about back then. I was 14, 15 years old. So when I got hurt, I feel like that light came back upon it, because it happened naturally. People started to recognize and realize with spinal cord injuries, the life-changing effects that it happens to you. And my story being in the media just helped keep on pushing it out there. So we're trying to keep on raising awareness, and we will find that cure one day. I truly believe in my lifetime, we'll find it. We just got to keep on funding it. And you guys being a part of our Team LeGrand family is helping us do that each and every day.
Well, that's just inspiring and really fantastic. Um, I mean, that's amazing that you're showing this leadership for this cause. What do you think? Is there anything you're really excited about in terms of promising treatments on the horizon for spinal cord injuries?
Yeah, there is. So epidural stimulation is a big factor. So obviously, stem cell research is huge, but what we're focusing on at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation is the epidural stimulator, which now we have implanted, I believe, 35 new patients recently over the past year with this new epidural stimulator, where you put it in the lower part of your spinal cord, and when you turn it on, it's like you turn it on, and it helps retrain the brain to function those muscles again. And people start using it, and it starts like just being able to move your leg, move your toes, and then people started standing up. They regained back their bowel function, bladder function, sexual function, and sensation throughout their body, to then actually taking steps with a walker. And this originally happened with the 4 patients that they did it on, and they started to see amazing things. And when they even turned off the stimulator, they were able to still function with the stimulator being off. And it's like the brain retrained its body again. So now, now they got 35 more patients with it, with all different backgrounds, because this one was fairly athletic people between the ages of 20 and 35, and they were all male. Now they got a bunch of different types of people, different weight, classes, older, younger, and I can't wait to see some of the progress that's going to come from this, because it's gonna be world changing and life changing for so many people's quality of life, and that's the most important thing.
Well, that's really amazing, and that's the kind of stuff that the money's raised by Walk to Believe goes to, into funding that kind of research. And what else does it go into?
That's exactly what it goes. Exactly what it's going for. To be able to help keep on pushing that, and being able to people to be able to see it, because obviously a lot of stuff when it comes to research happens behind the scenes. And don't worry, with the Reef Foundation opening, the next 6 months, we're going to start showing more of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes in Louisville right now, Kentucky. That's where a lot of these trials are being taking place, and expanding them. I know Kessler right here in New Jersey, they just opened up a brand new state-of-the-art research facility last year. Guess what? And that's going to start being used up and things like that. So there's so much that's happening in the spinal cord, and that's why I'm so hopeful for it, because technology is evolving every day. I believe I mentioned this on the call with you, James. Elon Musk and all the stuff that he's trying to do, putting like chips in your head to help people with neurological issues, things of that nature. Who knows where we'll be in the next 10, 15, 20 years with technology? So I just continue to try to do my part and be there and raise my awareness, use my platform, so we can one day find that cure and live Christopher Reeve's dream, and that's a world of empty wheelchairs.
Let's see. Let's hope it happens. I mean, and the thing is, medical science, it's just amazing, because it happens. Innovation happens slowly over time, but eventually there's just that one moment where everything just breaks, and you get things like cell phones, or curing a disease. It just happens, and then it's like the world. You never existed in a world without those things. So I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the same thing for spinal cord injuries. I got 2 more questions for you before we start taking questions from our audience. So, new subject. I just wanted to ask. This has been a tough year for a lot of people. And you're a motivational speaker. So I was wondering, what advice would you give right now to people to tell them how to stay positive in even the worst situations?
I want to tell people we've been through the ringer this year. Ups and downs of just so much negativity in this world. A virus that's taking out so many people's lives. Job loss, depression, anxiety, all this stuff. Well, guess what, guys? You're all sitting here on this call today. You're all here today. You guys have made it. You guys have pushed through. It may not have always been easy. It may not have always been fun, but you guys are still here today, and that's a blessing. And you get to continue to live your life and try to make a difference each and every day because somebody may not have had that opportunity. And why I always try to tell people, no matter what you're going through in life, no matter how bad the situation may be, there's always someone that has it worse than you. Remember that. So always be appreciative for the things that you do have. Don't focus on the things that you don't have. And if it's something that you really want, then you just work your butt off together. And sometimes when you work your butt off, and things don't turn out the right way. It happened my whole life. I worked my whole life to make it to the NFL and play football. That was my dream. And then in my middle of my junior year, my world got flipped and turned upside down. I could have easily gave up, and no one would have said, "Oh wow, you just gave up." Nothing. They would have had my back if I gave up. But listen, I said I was going to make the best of this situation. I'm not going to give up. I have a responsibility. There's so many other people out there that are looking for me for inspiration, motivation. And even if you have one person someone that looks up to you in your life, remember, you're there for them and to help them and to guide them. And that's why I want to be here to keep on reminding you, because this is coming from somebody who wakes up every single day with nurses to wake me up and bring me into a shower chair, get me dressed, go to the bathroom, all that stuff, and then back into the bed, dressed and into my wheelchair. 2-3 hour process every single morning. Breathing treatments, keep my lungs strong, all this stuff. You'll never hear me complain about it because I know somebody right now that's bedridden. I know someone who can't get out of their house right now. So when you start thinking about all the negative things, start trying to compare it to what? Oh, I got to do this. I can't do this. Blah, blah, blah. Compare it to what? Remember, someone is praying for what you have right now. So be thankful.
It's really beautiful, man. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to say to yourself, I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna give up. But it's a harder thing to do than just saying it.
It
You gotta
is.
do it.
I want to expand on that because a lot of people think that mental toughness just one day you can flip a switch and that happens. No, people like, how do you stay so mentally strong and like go through? And I say, you have to challenge yourself. You have to do things that you don't want to do. And then it allows you to be able to adjust to when bad things happen or something happens. You can handle those situations. Coach Shiani used to always say to us, you got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And when we just had a 2.5 hour practice, ran 25 wind sprints, and now we're dying and sitting there, you're like, what am I doing with my life? And coach is saying that to you. It goes in one ear and right out the other. But when you actually sit there and think about it, that's an uncomfortable situation, but you're still pushing through it. You still made it. And it's something that you didn't want to do, but you got through it. And when you get through it, you pat yourself on the back. You say, you know what? I was able to handle that. I was able to withstand that storm. And then when you kind of start building up that mental toughness and that courage and the inspiration to, you prepare yourself for when something bad happens, I'll be able to handle it. And I won't break down and I won't go to all these negative things and these negative thoughts.
Well, thanks for the pep talk. I needed it, I think.
Hey,
So,
I got you with the coffee and the pep talk, my man.
all right. Well, to completely change subjects one more time, and this question may be just for me, but something that I didn't know about you, completely surprised me, was that the WWE awarded you its Warrior Award,
Mhm.
and you were inducted into its Hall of Fame. And now professional wrestling was huge in the '80s when I was growing up. So I mean, this whole thing is pretty mind blowing for me. I mean, that's like saying I got abducted by aliens. Is that I got inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. So how did you get involved with the WWE, and how did that happen, and how did that all go down?
So that was a relationship that was started back in 2014, 15 when I was working on this series called Mission Possible with Fox Sports, where I was highlighting people that are living in the face of adversity every single day and letting them be able to share their story on Fox Sports, but also give them a cool platform where they can meet somebody cool or a celebrity in their life and we partnered up with the WWE with Triple H, and we were able to share Rohan Murphy, who was actually a Penn State wrestler with no legs, and we were able to highlight his story. And then he went and worked out at the WWE headquarters in Connecticut, and Triple H popped in and surprised him, and it was a really cool moment. And I think it really touched Triple H in this story. So we stayed in touch a little bit, and then about a year and a half later, one day, just refreshing my email, and I get an email from one of his Triple H's assistants saying, "Hey, Eric, we have the WWE Hall of Fame coming up in March, blah, 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 this year. We had a bunch of nominees for the WWE Warrior winner. And we want to say congratulations. We picked you to be the winner and be inducted into the Hall of Fame." And you're just like, "Oh, this is a casual, January 4th in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon, and you're refreshing your emails and that pops up." You're like, "Well, damn, I'll be damned. That's awesome, man." And you like, you got to keep it a secret, but then who do you tell? Like, got to tell somebody that this happened. And so it was a cool moment. So then it led up to WrestleMania and in March, and my eyes going down there. I'm like, I got my huge wrestle friends, that a bunch of my teammates that are big we call them wrestle heads. The guys I've been watching since birth, always still to now, brought them down there, and I already knew we were gonna act crazy down there. Like, this is a moment that you just, that's gonna once in a lifetime opportunity. So I remember I said, my goal is to have a drink with Ric Flair. That's my goal. This whole trip, I gotta have a drink with Ric Flair, see if he's as crazy as all these stories were. So I get down there, we get checked in and everything. We get up to our room, put our stuff down. We're like, all right, let's go down to the front lobby, the bar area, see what's going on. And literally, you see all these wrestlers that we grew up on and watching, and you see them like, wow, this is insane. And one of the first people that saw me was Ric Flair, and he knew my name. He goes, "Eric, get over here, buddy, get over here right now." I'm like, "Oh man, what's going on?" So I'm like, I roll over there. He goes, "What are you drinking tonight?" I was like, "Oh, I just got, give him a double of Jack right now." I'm like, "Oh, snap." So he orders a double shot of Jack right at me. Oh, toss it back with Rick Flair. I'm like, my weekend's made. I don't need to do anything else. I just took a double shot of Jack with Ric Flair. I'm like, this is insane. And the rest of the night, you could tell he was gone because he was laying all over me. And the words were starting to flutter. His shirt had the stains on his shirt. I'm like, this is real life stuff. Like, you see these people on TV, and the show that they put on for us, but they're regular people out of parts, just like us. It was just insane to see just all the access to that whole weekend, and being able to be in front of 75, 80,000 people out there, and they say your name and everyone's cheering for you and clapping. It was, well, a moment of my life that I'll always remember, be able to hopefully tell my grandkids one day, like, yeah, Grandpa E over here is in the WWE Hall of Fame. So that was just a special moment.
That's really great. I mean, that's one of those moments where you go, is this really happening? I mean, that's just
Yeah,
amazing.
I
I
was
mean,
I was floating on a cloud that entire weekend, just like Undertaker walking by, just like casual. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, hi. I was like, what do you say? Like the guys that you mimic your whole life, Kane putting people through tables, and they're just walking around in their jeans and a t-shirt like it's nothing.
your life's taken a few sharp turns, Eric. Just to be sure.
Just a few.
Well, I think I've probably talked enough. So I really like to turn it over to our audience members now. The rest of the time over to them, and hopefully you can take some questions, and hopefully we've got some good questions. Hey, Nelson, what's the first question that we have for Eric?
Sure. Yeah, we do have a good amount of questions, and I promise you that we'll be able to get through all of them. So, Eric, Mark Guthner asks, I see that there are 3 types of coffee. What's your current favorite? And are there any plans to offer more and/or offer bulk consumer sizes?
Let's say so. My favorite, as I told you now, the Guatemalan is just, I don't know what it is about that chocolatey grapefruit taste, but it's starting to hit my soul really well. And we will be announcing a brand new roast of ours on July 5th. Yeah, I'm giving you guys all the inside information today. No one knows about that yet because I haven't even got all the beans in yet. But yes, our new roast will be announced on July 5th. Can't tell you exactly what it is because I want to have a little fun with you guys over this month. But just know July 5th, our new rules will be announced. It will be announced.
Thanks for teasing us, Eric. I appreciate it.
I had that. Look, I can't give you everything.
So Cindy Z asks, will you ever be offering a water processed decaf?
So, all right. So here it is with decaf. I will have to learn more about the water process because what I have learned with decaf is coffee has it comes with caffeine. It's not added to the bean. So in order to make it decaf, you have to add chemicals to the coffee to extract that caffeine out of it. And we don't like to use chemicals, but obviously we know people do like decaf. So I am trying to start educating myself on different ways to make it without having to use so many different chemicals and ways like that. So I will be educating myself on, I believe it was Cindy, on the water process way because I don't want to add too much chemicals to our stuff.
All right, next question from somebody you may know, Tom Robinson.
Yo, what up, baby?
How did you select those 3 areas for coffees to start?
Hey, this is where I will give props to my original roaster, the guy that unfortunately we did not see the same picture. He was the one who actually told me about these 3 in the very beginning and educated me a little bit on it. And then obviously I did my own research on them and I said, yeah, let's go with these 3. But going with the Costa Rican one, I will tell you a story about Costa Rica, which is funny. So if you actually drink Costa Rican coffee, you want to drink it outside of the country. You want to know why? Back in, I believe, 1990, it was literally banned. You cannot sell bad coffee to consumers throughout the country. So all this stuff that they make for cheap and stuff, they actually sell it on their island or the country of Costa Rica. All their good stuff, they sell it worldwide because it's illegal to sell bad coffee out of Costa Rica. So there's a little story for you right there. So when you're actually on the island, I'm sure resorts have special brands, but if you're like in the, in the backwoods or somewhere in Costa Rica, or you're in the, some street out there, you might get some pretty bad coffee. So that's a little tidbit for you. And then Sumatra, as I got explained to you guys before, Sumatra all year round, and you get some really good coffee coming out of there, dark, like with a little bit of a dark roast with one of that earthy vibes taste, which is really cool and very unique to some people. And the Guatemala, I'm just so happy we did go with this because it now has become my favorite with the chocolatey grapefruit taste to it. It's a very highly elevated country, which I didn't know about before. So the higher the elevation and stuff, when it comes to the farmers and making the coffee, their beans and growing them, the higher the elevation and that being high in altitude and just the water consumption up there, it all helps in the process of making the beans. So I'm very happy that we picked the Guatemalan.
Alrighty, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any last names. Got Michael Elchines.
Yes, Elkins. I know Michael Elkins.
Michael Elchines, there you go. He said, how excited are you to get back on the public speaking tour, motivating and corporate engagements, Big E?
So I will say, funny that you actually got it pretty good, Nelson, because the first time I said Michael laughing, I was like, Mike Elchionis. He's like, no, it's Elga. I'm like, oh, I thought it was Elchionis, but Mike's been a good friend of mine for years. But I'm very excited to get back on a speaking tour. It's been doing them virtual like this. I can't wait till we can do stuff like this in person again. But being able to go in person, share my story like I've been able to do over the years. And guess what? The past, especially since the last time I spoke in person, had to be February of 2020. A lot has happened since then. So I got a lot of more to share, a lot more education, a lot more tidbits to get to people. So if you guys are looking for speaker at your businesses, whatever your jobs or wherever you are, just know that I'm definitely willing to come in and share my story on life and my journey and just everything that I'm doing now. So cannot wait to get back out there and being able to share my story again.
Alrighty, we've got just a note from Marty Siderer. Eric, you're an incredible inspiration. Keep chopping and best wishes for great success with your business.
Thank you so much, Marty. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the coffee as well.
Deborah Miller asks, is there a LeGrand Coffeehouse cart that can come to future RU Touchdown Club in-person meetings?
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be working that out with Gourmet Dynamite. We got these perfectly, 2 beautiful carts right here. Let me see if I can get them use out of them outside the stadium. I'm sure they will let me if I find a way to transport them. But believe me, it's already in my mind of being able to use those carts not only at the stadium, but all around Rutgers in different events.
All right, we've got Terry Van Zura. says, as someone who grew up on Green Street in Woodbridge, I can't wait to visit the coffee shop. I live
That's
down,
awesome.
I live down in Monroe now, and we can use a coffee shop down here. Any chance we could be your second location?
We definitely have plans for expansion in the future. Let's just not don't know if Monroe will be second, but who knows? You might be able to see Rutgers and some LeGrand Coffeehouse in the future. Obviously, that's way down the road from right now, but hey, giving you guys all the inside information on where I'm looking and scouting.
All right, Courtney McNoff. She said, just went online to order my first bag of LeGrand coffee. The vibe with Rutgers extending beyond athletics with over 50,000 applications for admissions to New Brunswick. So
Well, thank you for the support. I can't wait for you to get that bag of coffee. It'll be all shipped out tonight. But I have my team prepared and ready to go to get your coffee as soon as possible.
and I think I can answer this one. It's Matt Visco asked, will we be able to get LeGrand coffee at the Rutgers Club? Matt, I know Eric and I are trying to work out the logistics of that. Stay tuned. We're doing what we can.
I'm glad you handled that, Nelson, because I was about to put you under the gun. I was like, hey, you got to ask Nelson that one. That was not on me.
That's why I figured I'd answer it, because I knew it was coming. There's a note from Cindy Z. Oh, well, Mark Guthner said thank you for the response. And then Cindy Z says, we have had all 3 coffees and we absolutely love them. So glad to be able to buy another bag at the spring game. You are awesome.
I appreciate that, Cindy. And yeah, I'm glad you got to try all 3 roast. And like I said, we want to make sure that people get high quality coffee. This is top shelf coffee, not just just some coffee that I wanted to throw out there. Make sure I educated myself and learned as much as I could, so you guys can get a great cup of coffee in the morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Can I ask you which one? If you could type in the comment below, which one is your favorite?
Well, while we wait for Cindy to respond, we've got someone that James may know, a Tara Condon says,
who's that?
So,
No, that's my wife. She's great. She's almost as big a multitasker as you are, Eric.
I love it. Love it.
She asks, so many people admire you, Eric. Whom do you admire and where do you draw your strength?
There's just quite a few people. Obviously, my mom is my number one motivation for just her selfless, the selfless love and care that she has for me. The behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, like the taking care of the medication, insurance policies, the ones writing up all of my contracts and things like that, just running that house or walking our 140-pound dog 2 miles every day, all the stuff that she has sacrificed just to be able to take care of me. I'm so thankful, and that always will push me and motivate me to be able to want to be able to give her just a beautiful life, and as well as the people, honestly, that have supported me, and the stories that I've heard over these past 10 and a half years, and how I've been able to touch them. As I said, this whole injury turned into a responsibility that I'm gladly to take on. I'm gladly to take it on because I know I'm making an impact on so many others' lives that are going through a tough situation. It doesn't have to be a spinal cord injury. It can be anything. And if people can look to me for inspiration, that's what I'm here for. So besides my mom, it's honestly the people, the family, my friends, the culture that I've been able to build around me.
We've got Marilyn Gagno asks, what is the address to the cafe in Woodbridge?
It'll be 10 Green Street. It's the new apartment. See, this is why I show you my business savviness a little bit. So Avenue and Green is this new development that's going to have 232 units of apartments. So they're, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom apartments right next to our train station, literally 5 steps away from our train station, direct to New York City, and with 6 retail locations at the bottom. And I was able to, snag up one of those locations because you got 232 units going above you, and then another 350 going down the block, trying to take over the coffee game right here in Woodbridge Township.
Very nice. Cindy Z says, Guatemalan in my LeGrand Coffeehouse mug.
I see you, Cindy. That's awesome. It touches my soul too. But I think this new one I'm actually going to bring on the 5th. I got to try it a little bit more before I let it come up into that realm of the greatness. But I'm starting to the first few tastes I had of it, it's challenging. I will say that.
What was the name of that one again?
I don't know. Can't tell you that.
Megan Lincoln says, Eric, you're such an inspiration. When buying your coffee, do you recommend buying whole bean and grinding it at home or buying it pre-ground? I have both a French press and coffee machine that grinds.
Oh, you're coffee OG over there, so you probably know this answer, but I will say you buy it a whole bean because when you ground it, you do lose the quality of the taste a little bit and some of the oxygen gets in there and it doesn't last as long. But when you buy it a whole bean and you ground it fresh to your batch, it does last. It lasts a little bit longer, I'm sure. With all that, what you just dropped in there, I think you might have knew that one. But I do if you want it to last longer. If you go through coffee real fast, I mean having it grounded, there's no problem at all. But if you want it to last a little bit, I would say get a whole bean.
All right, that's all the questions that are there right now. I just wanted to remind everyone that Eric is gracious enough to offer a little a discount code.
Hold on, actually, I want to actually, you said the discount code, but today I do. So for June 1st, we already had this planned. And it's funny how this fell on it. We were offering you guys 10% discount for this event, but guess what? We already have a sale going. Then for started at 12 o'clock for 52 hours, 20% off of any of the coffee roasts. That doesn't include the mugs and gift card, but it includes all three of our coffee roasts. You have 20% off for the next 52 hours. And then your guys will go back to 10% up until June 7th. So, I mean, obviously, I would recommend you getting it now if you got 20% off compared to, when that ends in 52 hours. But yes, we wanted to offer you guys that today. And that 10% for you guys goes all the way up until June 7th. But right now, you got it for 20%.
Well, that's awesome. I feel like I'm in a special club now.
And I mean, you guys are the special club, the RU club. And there's one more tidbit that I want to give because so many people have actually asked. I'm surprised I haven't got a question here. Like, Eric, where can we get a t-shirt and a swag and all this? So the shirt that I'm actually wearing today will be our first ever shirt that we sell that goes on sale June 15th, guys. So I'm getting all the inside information to you guys today because you guys are Rutgers family. So June 15th, you'll be able to get your first ever LeGrand Coffeehouse shirt. And it's all about a daily cup of believe, the shirt that I'm wearing right now. So make sure you look.
And that's at LeGrandCoffeehouse.com, all one word.
Yes. Yep. And there actually even a little snippet. There will be a nice little baseball cap dad hat in there for you guys too. So little, there it is. A daily cup of believe.
Well, if we have no other questions for Eric, I guess I'll wrap it up. So thanks to everybody. Thank you again, Eric, for talking with our members. It was really a pleasure getting to know you this week. And I think I can safely say our members really enjoyed spending this hour with you as much as I did, if not more. Good luck with the Walk to bELieve 5K. Remember, it's happening on June 12th, right? Mm-hmm. And you can sign up for it. I'm going to give the website. You tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm wrong with anything I say. awtb21.fundraise.org. That's fundraise, no D, FUNRAISE, fundraise.org.
Fundraise, exactly. You got it perfectly. Look at you, James. I see you.
Now, James, earlier today, it's to make it a little bit easier for our members, I posted the information on the homepage of the Rutgers Club website. So if you go to the Rutgers Club website, you can access the Walk to bELieve information directly.
Terrific. Eric, good luck with LeGrand Coffeehouse. You can purchase it at LeGrandCoffeehouse.com, as I said. And remember, you can use the promo. Yeah, you use the promo code. It's Rutgers Club 10. Rutgers Club 10. Remember that. And thanks to Nelson. Nelson, thank you for being our moderator today. And thanks to the special events committee members who worked to organize this event, Liz Marquez and Tom Robinson, who we heard from earlier as a questioner. Thanks again, everyone, for coming. Keep your eyes on your email over the summer for Rutgers Club news. Fingers crossed, I hope we can all see you again at the Rutgers Club sometime this year. I don't know when. So good night. Be well. Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing, baby. Appreciate you guys having me. Hope you all enjoy your daily cup of believe.
It's been all my pleasure, really, truly.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.